Question 11. We're going to take 3 1/4 minus 2 1/2. Again, you cannot add or subtract fractions without common denominators. So first you must find common denominators. In this question, the common denominator is 4. On the top, the denominator is already 4, so you do not have to change the numerator. On the bottom, the denominator is 2, so we must change it to 4. We do this by taking 2 times 2, which is 4. Remember, whatever you do on the bottom, you must also do on the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. Now we have to see that we are subtracting. So we have to look. Can we take away 2 from 1? And we can't, so we need to borrow. So we go over to the whole number and cross it off and make it 1 less. That whole number does not go away. We make it into fraction form on the side by using the denominator. We have to use the denominator because you can only subtract fractions or add fractions with common denominators. And we know any number over any number equals 1. That is why when we borrow from the whole number, we make it 4/4 in this problem. Then we add 1 plus 4 equals 5. Now we have 2 5/4 as our mixed number. Now we can subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3, and I carry down my denominator of 4. Do not forget about your whole numbers. I have to take 2 minus 2, which is 0. So I end up with the answer of 3/4. Question 12. 1 1/5 times 1 2/3. When we're multiplying mixed numbers, the first thing that we have to do is make them into improper fractions. How we do this is we take 1 times 5 plus 1. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So I keep my denominator, so I end up with 6/5. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5, and I have 5/3. Now I can multiply them across. 5 times 6 is 30, and 5 times 3 is 15. Since I know this is improper, I must divide. 30 divided by 15 is 2, and I come up with the answer of 2. Question 13. I have 5 divided by 1 2/3. When we divide mixed numbers, again, the first step is making them into impropers. Making 5 into an improper, we just simply put it 5 over 1. 1 2/3 as an improper is 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So then I get 5/3. Remember, my denominator stays the same. After I make my numbers into improper fractions, I then must come over and KFC. Remember, that stands for keep, flip, change. I keep the first fraction, I flip the second fraction, and I change division to multiplication. Now I can multiply across. 5 times 3 is 15, and 1 times 5 is 5. Since this is, again, improper, I must divide. 15 divided by 5 is 3. For this answer, I come up with 3. Question 14. 5y equals 8. So we are trying to solve for y. Therefore, we have to carry 5 over and divide 8 by 5. So when I'm dividing, I need to add a decimal 0. 5 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. I then take 8 minus 5 and I get 3. I then have to carry my 0 down. 5 goes into 36 times. 6 times 5 is 30, and since I find the difference, I come up with 0. Don't forget to bring your decimal straight up. So your answer then is 1 6/10. Question 15. What is the circumference of the circle? Remember, circumference equals pi times diameter. And pi equals 3.14, and the diameter is all the way across the circle. For this question, they give us the radius, which is 10 inches. Since we know this side is 10 inches, the other side is also 10 inches. So we know 10 plus 10 is 20. So we need to plug in our numbers. Again, pi is 3.14 times the d, which is our diameter, and it is 20. I had offset my 0, so I bring my 0 down. 2 times 4 is 8, 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. Now I cannot forget about my decimal. There's 2 places after my decimal, So I go in my answer and swoop twice. 1, 2. So I come up with the final answer of 62 and 80 hundredths, or 62 and 8 tenths. Question 16. What is the area of the circle? For this question, we are using the circle in question 15. Area of a circle equals the pi times the radius squared. Since the radius is 10, I plugged in 10 for the r, and then I plugged in 3.14 for pi, and I have to square it. The first thing I do is square 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Then I must take 3.14 times 100. I offset my zeros, so I bring down both zeros. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 3 is 3. I then do not forget about my decimals. There's 2 decimal places after, so I must swoop twice. 1, 2. So I come up with the final answer of 314. Question 17. Write 65% as a reduced fraction and as a decimal number. Remember, any percent is always over 100. So my number is 65 over 100. But don't forget that you can reduce. I know that I can reduce by 5 because my numbers end in 5 and 0. So I need to take 5 out. 65 divided by 5 is 13, and 100 divided by 5 is 20. So my reduced fraction is 13/20. Now, making a percent into a decimal, you simply just make it as a hundredths as a decimal. So I take 0.65, which is 65 hundredths. Question 18. What is the volume of this rectangle? Remember a rectangular prism. The formula for volume is length times width times height. Therefore, I must take 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100, and 100 times 10 is 1,000. So the volume for this rectangular prism is 1,000 centimeters cubed. Question 19. A cube has how many edges? Edges on a 3D figure are where the faces meet, so they are the long lines. So to count this, I'm going to count the squares and then the tops. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 edges in this cube. Question 20. The coordinates of the 3 vertices in a parallelogram are 3, 3, 0, 3, and -2, 0. What are the coordinates of the 4th vertice? So first I plot the 3 knowns. I go over 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 3, 1, 2, 3. 0, 3. I don't go left or right because 0 is x-axis. I just go up 3, 1, 2, 3. -2, 0. I go over 2, 1, 2 to -2. I do not go up or down because my y value is 0. To find the 4th vertice, I go to the top and I count 1, 2, 3. There are 3 units between each side. So I go to the bottom and count 1, 2, 3 units, and I know this is my missing vertice. So now I have to plot the point. It's on +1, 0. So +1, 0 then is my last vertice.